Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that will be perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. But you won't play games from the 70s, would you? Yes, we are. But you wouldn't play text adventure games, would you? Yes, we are. Every video game. So no more time for chit chat. Let's see where we left off. Let's take you all the way back to 1978. We just saw the release of the Bally Astrocade, or as you see on the box, Bally Videocade. Astrocade, Videocade, doesn't matter. They were both meant to be like you're having arcade in the home. We played the built-in package games and then 280 Zap. So let's see what our next game is. Looks like at the same time the Bally Astrocade came out, there was Atari's Avalanche in the arcades. Let's check out some of the artwork for Avalanche. So here's the advertisement flyer from Atari. You gotta know it's good if it's Atari. It's the random text on the advertisement flyer and the falling rocks that really sells it. There's an example of the arcade cabinet. You can see we have plexiglass adding some layers of depth and then artwork all the way around, but standard upright cabinet. Looks great. And then the terrible picture of the control panel, but it looks like we just have one dial to slide back and forth. Like not exactly the trackball yet, but this is the similar to the paddles that Atari released in the home. So it looks like we just have moving left and right for the controls and some various artwork, and this is still being programmed in black and white in the arcades, 1978. Let's see if the manual has anything else for us. This is the manual for the arcade system, mostly used by the operator or whoever owned the arcade. The operation, maintenance, and service manual for Avalanche. This one actually has color. Every other manual we've seen was black and white. We're looking for instructions or what Avalanche is. This is, introduction and info on what Avalanche is. Here we go. Avalanche is a 1- or 2-player game developed by Atari. The game is contained in a distinctively styled upright cabinet to enhance player appeal. A 23-inch TV monitor is mounted on the top of the cabinet with a monitor viewing screen tilted slightly from a vertical position, trying to give that 3D feel. 2 identical coin mechanisms. Well, it's just explaining the cabinet. Most of the time we get what it is. There we go. The object of Avalanche game is to accumulate a high score by catching the rocks as they fall on the TV viewing screen. This is done by operating the paddle knob, a potentiometer. I've never heard it referred to that. We'll call it the paddle in the meantime. The degree of difficulty increases as the game progresses, rocks become smaller, and so forth. So that is pretty much what Avalanche is. We have additional versions. It looks like it was also called Cascade in other regions. But let's check it out. We're in the arcades. It is April 1978, playing Avalanche by Atari. So here it is. This is Avalanche in all its glory with the arcade artwork. So let's see what happens if we put a coin in. Cha-ching! And push start. So now I am in control of the paddles moving left and right, and I'm waiting for, okay, there we go. So it looks like we have things falling. It's the Avalanche. And we're moving left and right using the paddle control. All we have is that control, left and right. And we're trying to collect all of them before they fall. I'm guessing I'll get a game over if they fall to the bottom. So it is a game of skill. It's kind of taking the paddle formula. Oh, they give me less paddles now. And it's going to go probably crazy hard as we get to the other ones. Notice that we have color. The color is not being programmed. This is an overlay that is giving us the impression that we're playing with different colored rocks. And yeah, it's fun. This game's being copied nowadays on mobile phones as something that's, you know, a passerby game, a casual game. Oh yeah, we're going crazy now. But this is Avalanche. We're going to see... Oh, there we go. And there's the game over. So we're going to see this copied quite a bit. A unique take, but still a paddle game in the most sense. All right, so let's exit out of that. And for our rating, this was above average. I could go 3.5 stars because on average we haven't seen anything to this nature, but it works. It plays well, and it's fun. It's addictive. 3.5 stars for Avalanche. All right, moving on to our next game. So we are in between. It's like right when the Bally Astrocade came out, it looks like Avalanche came out in the arcades. So now we're back at home. This is the Bally Astrocade, just came out in 1978. And the next one we have is Bali Basic, which means it is the cartridge you put in to program in BASIC. You want to learn basic, kids? Play on the Bally Astrocade, which means this gets a fat 0 in our book because it's not a game. This is basic programming. This stream will not have basic programming, so you have to learn that elsewhere. All right, moving on to our next game. So we're going to check out a lot of the releases for Bally Astrocade. This is next. This is Blackjack, Poker, and Acey-Deucey. Acey-Deucey? Acey-Deucey? Let's see the artwork for Blackjack, Poker, and Acey-Deucey. This is cart 5002. That's just the programming code they used. It looks like it's just card games and poker games or casino games, which is another one we don't really hit on. If anything involves casino or gambling, we pass it over. So we won't be looking at this one. This will be a 0 star for Blackjack, Poker, and Acey-Deucey. We will play other card games, but just not anything involving gambling, poker, and things you could get at a casino. All right, moving on to our next game. Looks like it's another launch title. This is Brickyard Clowns on the Bally Astrocade. So just like we've seen in the home, they're combining more than one game in the cartridge. Let's see the artwork. Here's the box for the Bally. 2 exciting, challenging games. Brickyard. Score points breaking through walls of bricks. Wow, we haven't seen that. Everyone wants to break through walls of bricks. Eliminate the last brick for a big bonus. 2 players can get it, different skills. And then Clowns. Looks like it's the game we saw in the arcade. So this is our home port of Clowns, where you bounce on the seesaw, I'm guessing. By the way, if Bally looks familiar, and you're from the certain generation that was using Bally Total Fitness, yes, this is the same company. This is before they did that, and they were making video games. Will they continue? We'll find out. All right, so here's some of the artwork. There's an example of the cartridge. Got a nice big bulky cartridge. And this is, okay, so that's the rest of the artwork there. Let's check out the manual. This is our first Bally manual we've seen. It looks like the same as the box front, and then looks like they give us loading instructions, how to turn it off and on. We don't have a picture of the Bally, but I'll show you when we go back to the main screen. The Bally had a full keypad and things you could program on the device itself, on the console itself. The controller was awesome. It was revolutionary, and so this is explaining what you would do to get the game to run. It's pretty simple. You put it in and push reset. But then they explain Brickyard. You can have 1 to 4 people, and then this is all the examples or different types of ways you can play. Yeah, they have different levels of difficulty, and then how to play Brickyard, which is you just take the controller and they have a small knob that you twist left and right at the top. That was your way to control it. And then looks like with Clowns, same thing. So this is very basic. But by the way, this is the most boring manual we've seen. Atari's manual at home actually had color and was interesting. And this is the manual. You can see there's the back of it. So boring manual, Bally. Atari had it way better. All right, let's see. This is April 1978 playing Brickyard Clowns on the Bally Astrocade. So it always boots up first, and then you use the keypad on the console for what you want to play. So we're going to check out Brickyard by pushing 1, and then ask which difficulty we want. We are going to start with Professional, because that's how we are here on Chronologically Gaming. So we're pushing Professional. How many people? I have no one at home with me in 1978. I am all alone with my Bally Astrocade, so 1 player. And then how many balls? 2. Any other control I need to push? There we go. Okay, so you got to hit enter on the keypad. Now, I am now in control of my... Bally Astrocade had a little knob that you twisted left and right, so I'm able to twist left and right. Let's see if I push fire. So the trigger has the fire, and oh, we have some physics. The ball started with an arc and then came down on the screen. That was cool. Yeah, so it goes up with a loop and then comes down, and we're basically playing Breakout. We've seen Breakout for a very long time, and we're going to have lots of clones. So this is Bally... I've already had a game over. This is Bally Astrocade's way of making Breakout in the home. But they all have different names, so we're just going to call it, Brickyard, not Breakout. Let's try a little bit easier. How about 4? What's beginner like? So we'll play 1 player and 1 ball, please. So it looks like we only get 1 life is what the ball is. All right, so we started off, still has the same arc with physics, kind of cool there, but then it has the same usual, just break the bricks at the top. And I don't see a difference between beginner and advanced. It's using the same speed. And yeah, so it looks like the number of balls is just how many lives you have. And then it goes back to the beginning. So if you notice below Brickyard and Clowns, the 3, 4, 5, and 6 is what came automatically in the console. So you always could play Gunfight, Checkmate, and Calculator, and then Scribbling. And so when you put a cartridge in, it added extra games that you could check out. If you want to see me play the other ones, you can check out YouTube for that footage. So let's see what Clowns is like at home. This will be 1 player, and then number of clowns. I guess that's your lives. Let's do 4 clowns. 4 clowns, please. All right, so it is a similar idea as Breakout, but instead of a ball, it's people. And you bounce the people off the seesaw back and forth until you pop all the balloons at the top. Taking inspiration from Carnival games. Oh, wow, yeah, and it's already speeding up. And they have similar physics as in the arcade, the way that the clown was able to go faster and faster based on where you're hitting on the seesaw. And check out that home music. Oh, I've already missed it. See, it has to land on the other side of the seesaw or it doesn't work. But the fact that we can see a character at home is rare. Everything else we've seen has been an object like combat for tank. And the pixel is actually, the pixel works better than we've seen for Atari. So the Bally has that going. And he's dead. It was a little more graphic in the arcade. Clowns in the arcade showed the dead clown on the bottom. I guess Bally didn't want to bring that home. All right, so that's good for those 2 games. That's pretty standard for having at home, so I'm going to give it 3 stars. It's average for what we'd see at home in 1978, and it works very well. All right, moving on to our next game. So we're still at home playing the Bally Astrocade, and this is elementary math and bingo math. And everybody knows for Chronologically Gaming, anything involving early childhood gets 0 stars, and we move on. We are not doing elementary math. So our next game that was also released when the Bally Astrocade was introduced is Grand Prix and Demolition Derby. Oh, and so if you look at the bottom left corner of the screen, there's an example of the controller. It's behind Grand Prix right now, but the console itself, you can see the number pad is there. Not just the numbers you would see on a phone, it also has some programming buttons that you would need for if you were doing the basic program, or some games you need to push certain things to be able to play the game. All right, so let's see the artwork for Grand Prix and Demolition Derby. 4 challenging courses in race car driving excitement. Jockey for positions at Le Mans, or go for broke on a dangerous rally track. Yeah, it's that realistic, just like Le Mans. And there's an example of the cartridge. 2014 is not the year. That is the programming code for the ROM. And there's an example of some of the screenshot for you. All right, so let's see the manual. It's the same idea. Manual looks very much like the box front. And then for instructions, it's still black and white text that looks like they typed it on a typewriter. And then how to load the game. I really want to know if this is the actual manual. It looks very boring compared to manuals we've seen. So we're just going to wing it. It's 2 games, so we won't go through all the instructions on those. All right, let's pop it in and play. It's April 1978, playing Grand Prix Demolition Derby on the Bally Astrocade. Oh, because we got lots of games. We got different versions. So let's start with Grand Prix 1, 1 player. And then here we go, pro or beginner. Oh, we're pro. We're pro. And then number of laps. Sure, 2 laps. And then you always have to push enter on the keyboard on the console. So it looks like we're counting down 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is pretty cool. You're holding the controller and you use a trigger to make the car move. And then we're using the very interesting physics while I'm playing this. We had something a little better on Atari. So I already did my 2 laps. We had something better on Atari with the car physics. This one feels like it's a lower frame rate than an Atari, but if you had the controller in your hand, you're driving by accelerating by holding the trigger, but then the top of the controller, you're just twisting a knob to make it move left and right. So a little strange. All right, let's see what Grand Prix 2's like. So I'm pushing 2, 1 player, and then let's try beginner and see what beginner's like. Number of laps, we'll do 2 laps again, and then we push enter on the console. So now it looks like it's just a different course. So how do you want your top-down course to look? All right, so I'm holding the trigger down, and notice how the car, when it turns, only has a few frames of animation, and it's not as detailed. But it does get the job done because this is the first home console to have an analog control. The Atari was using digital still with its joystick. Even though it looked like it could be analog, it really wasn't. Yeah, I can see what beginner is. Beginner, they're slowing down the speed of the car. It's going a lot slower. And there's also no competition. Where's the other players? I guess you have to play with 2 people. They didn't program a computer in. We've seen computer-controlled cars at home, though. All right, so I'm guessing Grand Prix 3 is going to be another course. So we'll skip that one. Let's check out Demolition Derby. So push a number 4 on the console, and then 1 player. Number of points, I don't know, let's say 5 points. All right, so this is Demolition Derby. Countdown 3, 2, 1, and same idea. I'm holding the trigger down, and I am... I actually can't tell which car I am. Is that a bad sign? I'm trying to see which one I am. Am I the green? Okay, so I am the green car that is at the left side of the screen now. And I don't know how I'm racking up points. Am I supposed to crash into them to get the points? Let's see. Yeah, all right, so I'm smashing in, and it looks like you get points for being smashed, and you're just supposed to crash into all the cars. This console was a 4-player console, just like Atari. You could play 4 people. So plugging in 4 controllers, this would be a blast to have 4 people to smash around your Demolition Derby car with. That's awesome. All right, so this pretty much is the gist of this one. We had no other games that came with the cartridge. The rest were the ones included in the console. So it's pretty good. I'd still say average for the time, maybe slightly below average. The Demolition Derby has the better quality for something we could play at home. So we'll still give it 3. Average for the time, for what we'd see in the home in 1978. All right, moving on to our next game. This is Red Baron and Panzer Attack on the Bally Astrocade. So here's the box. Suddenly it's World War I. You come out of the sun, your scarf flying in the wind, trailing the Red Baron himself. But with an Immelman turn, the hunter becomes the hunted. Then after a duel in the skies, you command a tank corps rumbling through a battlefield. So this artwork for the box, we've seen 3 different types. We've seen the Fairchild's artwork, we've seen the Atari's artwork, and this one is not going for that realistic paint quality that Atari has, but it's also not giving you what the game actually looks like. It's kind of an in-between for the box. So here we go. This is the actual cart, if you want to call it that. The Bally Astrocade took cassette tapes. So there is the cassette tape you would play on the Bally Astrocade if you were to buy it secondhand. It looks like this photograph is a secondhand Bally Astrocade. So there's an example of the cart itself. It is a video cassette. And so the 2 games are included. Manual, I'm guessing, manual looks a little different, but they're giving you different ways to play. It's Red Baron or it is Panzer Attack. And then this is giving examples of what to do. So it looks like the knob doesn't do anything. All we have is the joystick. So I was showing you how the controller works. The top has the knob to twist left and right, but you also had a way to use the joystick itself. So this one uses just the joystick. All right, so let's check out Red Baron and Panzer Attack. We're at home in 1978, April, playing the Bally Astrocade. And I want to see what Red Baron's like. Let's push number 1 on the console. Game time. Last time we tried this, it was in seconds. So let's try 20 seconds and see what happens. All right, so we are now playing Red Baron. I am the biplane on the left going behind the cloud. And I have control of the plane going up and down. I'm actually using plane controls. I'm going down, pulling down on the throttle to move up, and then up on the throttle to move down. And do I have a shoot? Yes, and so I push the only button, the trigger, to fire off a shot. And if you notice, the other plane is continually crashing because you have to have 2 people. They didn't program someone else to play with me. No artificial intelligence for this one. But it gets the job done. We've seen it before on Atari, the same idea, and it works really well with this one too. All right, so let's see what Panzer Attack is. This will be for 1 player. How many games? 2 games, I guess. Lots of games. Oh, Panzer Attack. It is a tank clone. So this one is controlling tank controls, left to move your tank left, right to move your tank right. And I said 1 player. There's no one else here. What would you do to play tank by yourself if there's no other tank to shoot? I expect them to have either a computer-controlled tank or they put someone else on the field until the second player came in, but there's no one here. How would you play 1-player tank if... I can't even rack up points. So why would they have that as a game mode? That is hilarious. All right, I want to do a reset of that. Let's try it again with 2 people. So hopefully there's a second player that shows up. All right, so we reset the console. Okay, now we're playing 2 players, but again, there's no artificial intelligence. I'm not playing a computer. I have to play with a second player. And sadly, there's no one at home with me playing my Bally Astrocade. Maybe they're at their home playing their Atari right now. All right, so that was Panzer Attack. Very good. Still average for the time in the home, and it works really well. So 3 stars for Red Baron and Panzer Attack. We had something similar with Atari, but Atari had so many variations in game modes. This one, it's 2 games, and it's simple, but it gets you into the game faster without as many options, I guess. But Atari had more. Props to Atari.